Yeah, you just get him by the balls and say, okay, your move. You
So
can't
here we
ignore
go,
this
right?
pick.
So this is the answer. Empire hope they pick up their very default Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend's a hero that you can just pick in your draft, and you don't really care. He just raised out the lane, it's chilling. So now URSUS, they can very much think, okay, do we want to put the Razor mid against Shadow Fiend? It's not that good. So let's put the Razor safe lane, and let's really abuse our last pick to maybe counter the Shadow Fiend. I don't think they want to pick their mid hero now, but just pick up a casual support now, URSUS. Keep your draft open and really punish Empire.
Is
But
there anything flexible that
sorry.
comes to mind that could like lead this Doom as a question mark? Like, is it 4? Is it
Oh,
3?
I don't think you need to be that crazy. I think their draft is now super solid.
Hmm.
You've got your front line in Doom. You've got the ability to go safe lane with your Razor and Empire Hope. They're already showing right now. They're trying to build like the start of the construct of a kind of a Deathfall-esque lineup, right? You got the Abaddon who can provide some type of push with your passive and some frontline. The Shadow Fiend, obviously, with his aura, if he gets the talent for towers, he's a real big threat. So Empire Hope, they might be pushing themselves maybe towards a Drow or one of those types of heroes to get a nice cluster of Death Ball. Again, Razor though, he's got a nice little bit of lane push, so I'm excited for this one. I'm sorry, I'm really into this draft right now. I'm not gonna lie.
You're just dribbling. Like, I'm not gonna get any answer out of
Yeah,
you.
I'm
Just like,
literally
I'm gonna have to
standing up,
say someone
pacing around
3
my room.
times.
I'm like, ooh, they
Oh,
picked
where
the
you're like on
Razor.
tiptoes, just
Yeah, yeah,
hands
yeah.
vigorously
I'm
jazzing around.
I'm actually on tiptoes right now. I'm not gonna lie. If we could screen share it, hold on, hold on. Look at your Discord. Look at your Discord. This is me. Oh shit, I can't do it. It's not loading. Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't
I
matter.
like
Dead
all
name,
I
dead
saw
name.
was 2 squares like dancing around. It was
Yeah,
very telling of what he's doing.
it's because my webcam's linked to OBS, which is currently watching the stream. So,
Oh, there you go. So,
god damn it, you can't see the tiptoe. But anyway,
I'm
okay, look, they
disappointed.
picked the tiny. They picked their default little 4-man, right?
Yeah, and at the same time, this could still be Razor, safe lane, tiny mid scenario, right? So you have to kind of. I don't think you got to do tiny mid though against Shadow Fiend, right? So
Oh
they
no,
should
I
be the
think
4.
we're keeping it stable. They've picked
Yeah.
their core Razor, and then now they're position 4. Empire, they get their tempo setting Batrider. Also pretty good hero. You can put most likely position 4, I'd say, this game. So
Hmm.
it's okay. I personally am not that much of a fan of the support Batrider, but
I think it works. Like certain teams play it very, very well. Like especially a few SEA teams. I think what Empire needs now is something that can punish Doom if he's left alone, right? Because Tiny is a rotating support. He doesn't like to be stuck on one lane.
so what's their the Ember? So that's going to be their backline getter, tempo setter.
What I
So
love
it's
is
going to be
apparently you're like 2 seconds ahead of me, so you're like, oh, Ember, and I hadn't come up yet, so you look like a genius right now. Until I pointed out.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
I ruined it for you. I'm sorry.
Shall I refresh? How do I
I
fix
found
this
a
problem?
comedian. I don't know. I just click refresh to be safe. After the slideshow last game, there's no point taking any chances. And us, they don't need to take any chances. They can see what the lanes are now. They can look for the favorable matchup. What's it gonna be?
Yeah, I just think they now just pick a mid lane that goes against. They can either. This is the thing. They either let the Razor be their mid lane, and they just do a trader farm mid. But I think that's kind of whatever. Or they just pick. There you go. Or they pick some like boss core, and it's going to be the mid arc coordinate as expected. So yeah, Plov goes on carry Razor, utilize the fact they picked it early, and then now they just get like Shadow Fiend. He can pressure, but he can't pressure ranged heroes, right? Because of the razors, he can't connect all 3 unless a stun comes in, and you don't have that big ability to gank on Empire. You got Batrider Lich supports, so unless you get some wild Lich coming in with a smoke and just getting that sinister gaze off, you're not really gonna get an actual jump on this Arc Warden. And as soon as Arc Warden hits 6, if Shadow Fiend shows in lane, he's most likely gonna die with the flux and the little spirit things. I can't remember the
Yeah,
name
the
right
spirit
now.
spams that come out. It's. I think
Little
the
buggers,
issue
those names.
that I see here is like right now. If this was the first game, we might have had a slight concern that like, oh, URSUS is maybe playing a little bit too greedy, a little bit too late. But we've seen from Team Empire, like they put themselves on the clock again, and judging by the first game, they had this very big issue with finishing. Okay, like so some people wish there was more stamina in certain situations, but sometimes it's about not dragging on the experience. It's about bringing it to
Yeah.
a quick and satisfying close.
Well, there was a lot of foreplay in the last game. Horrendous amounts, real back and forth, real teasing them. Like you can win, no, I can win, no, you can win. But yeah, in the end, URSUS kind of got the job done. But I think this draft from URSUS, they've really put Empire in an awkward position. Even if Empire have that solid tempo, early aggression, they're going to really struggle going high ground. Shadow Fiend, he's the only hero that can truly hit the high ground. And when you have this Arc Warden putting those bubbles on the towers, the Shadow Fiend can't really get into a position to then hit the tower. So I think Empire have to control this early game, have to use the Ember to find the Arc Warden to get to the back line. They need the Batrider Ember to basically play together, jump the Arc Warden, and then hope the rest of team fight on Ursus doesn't really come through. But this is a really scary game, I think, for Empire. Like this Ursus draft is so well rounded, and yeah, all because of this Razor pick, pretty much.
And we'll see what they can actually pivot off, because we've mentioned it already. We don't really see Abaddon's given a chance to shine or be played around. So it's more or less going to be about this SF Ember, right? And what they can deliver. And you already mentioned SF is not going to have an easy time in the lane. Luckily, you can at least farm the jungle quite well by like level 3 on a Shadow Fiend. So that's not too bad. So then are we expecting the Ember to be the one that has to seriously pop off for Empire to take control of this
Oh
game?
yeah, this is gonna have to be a masterclass of Ember Spirit to really get something going for Empire. I think when you've got your so it's the Batrider Abaddon on offlane. So obviously you'd assume I think it's Abaddon 3 and then Batrider 4. And then you got your Ember Spirit in safe lane. So the Ember has to move from his safe lane, get some good farm, and then really make some moves on the map.
And something we saw yesterday that was kind of crucial to Ember's success in the outer lanes was the support giving a wide berth. Lich can, of course, be the type of support that does that. But do you feel the heroes that are on the side of Ursus are better equipped to punish him if he stays off the lane and away from the Ember?
I think it's just going to be so with the for this regarding let's say the Arc Warden, it's going to be the build is like just treads Maelstrom, right?
Hmm.
He doesn't really need to. It used to be a Midas build, which was quite greedy, and you go like Midas, Maelstrom, bots, and you'd invest so much gold into just being able to move around the map and get farm. Now it's just I'm just gonna go treads, Maelstrom, and then either complete the Mjolnir, and I'm just gonna be able to fight and do everything. So I think even with the meta shift on Arc Warden, it builds them to be a slightly earlier threat. So
So you
just yeah,
think
on
he's going to
Ember,
match the Ember's timings, basically?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in timings, he's gonna be able to potentially join fights earlier with his clone while still farming, and then eventually if he goes for a BKB build. So I think this is a really good game for just pure right clicks. So like Mjolnir, BKB, Daedalus, those type of just like big damage output because you got so many frontliners through Razor, Tiny, and Doom. On the shield dive bottom, James.
Can he get
Oh
it? It's a lot
no!
of stacks, but it's going to backfire.
But it
Guild
wasn't first blood.
refuses.
It wasn't first blood. You know,
This is true. This is the tower.
it was killed by the tower. So okay, here we go.
That's the moment like you realize it wasn't first blood, and everyone looks at each other like, so one of us is still worth a lot of gold, and one of us still needs to die.
But yeah,
Question is,
the biggest downside I think though, if even though I've given a lot of praise to Ursus draft, is the fact that they have a duo melee offlane. These naturally don't go that well, especially when you have this Lich as this kind of like zoning support. So the Tiny is going to opt to pull the creep waves behind the tower, which means as a byproduct of that, Ember will get pretty much free farm. Of course, he'll miss out maybe one wave from this denying on the tower.
true. And Shadow Fiend definitely off to a strong start. Like Arc Warden's keeping up somewhat, but usually SF is a hero in the past that we saw suffer a little bit in the first few waves. But since we've shifted over to the Raze build, they tend to get to free quickly, which then gives them the flexibility to start supplementing the farm in the jungle.
Yeah, this Shadow Fiend's going to have pretty much free farm, but then he's going to have to rethink about his lane when the Arc Warden hits 6. If he's out of position, maybe steps into the river for some reason, then there's kill potential from the Arc Warden. So I think, yeah, mid's going to be very even, and these Doom cosmetics are a little bit underwhelming, but,
Yeah.
you know, let's,
So is
let's just
the
look at his butt a little longer.
yeah.
Shake it, Sidway.
Well, I think that's just the Obs getting a little bit confused. He's probably been playing
Oh,
Underlords,
lightless.
and oh, it's lagging again. Don't do this to me. Toss back under the tower you go, and that's exactly what Lights
creep.
is saying. Please don't do this to me. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. But it's just going to go down with the rotation. Nope. It's the SF kill.
But this
And
is the other thing as well, is when you have this dual melee off lane, the Doom will naturally, okay, so you just sit top. Then the Tiny, he uses that the wave he pulled to get that early level 2 and then instantly rotates mid. So it's like, okay, actually, we can leave you solo Doom because you can, force the Lich to mid. So now it's a Doom 1v1 lane. So this Tiny, through his lane pool, he's now set himself up to allow the Doom to have a solo lane. So surely Ember's going to have free farm, but the Doom's also going to have free farm as well. So it's really good for URSUS to have that kind of equal set between those two cores.
And this is what we're going to see from URSUS now is a lot more aggression, right? Like, we just got a preview what the Tiny can do. He's already rotating towards the bot
Tiny
lane.
airlines, man. It's always been the same.
Exactly.
Even though that creep was a little passenger on that small plane, which kind of prevented the Shadow Fiend dying to the tower at least, but it's still a really annoying thing.
Yeah, and Doom's the type of hero you want to see when you have that combo, right? We've seen games where we had like Puck off lane, and it wasn't good to have this Tiny in conjunction. But Doom's the type of hero that wants to be left. He's like, get out my lane, okay? This is all my XP.
Yeah, tanky boy that can solo. Doom's the one.
And Yol in a bit of trouble, but they've overextended possibly here. Splov is going to chase down Mastery. Decides to turn around for the easier kill as James is going to be brought down, but will be joined in the grave by Yol.
But look as well, if you look at the minimap now, the Lich is completely not playing top, just trying to mirror these Tiny's movements to try and save the Shadow Fiend. And this just plays into URSUS' style, what they need right now. And the Shadow Fiend overstepped his mark. Level discrepancy because of the initial rotation. Yeah, he walks into the river, gets the Flux, gets a couple spirits on him. Now he's dead. Yeah, this mid lane is slowly becoming, I want to use the term disaster, but
Run away, I think. It's not a complete catastrophe just yet. But...
not at all. He can still easily catch up in farm, but in terms of just purely the laning side of it, it's very much Arc Warden favored.
Well, the good news is that we said the Ember, he's going to have the godly game. He's off to a godly start. 29-11 in that one-on-one situation against the Doom so far. And now Mastery, he's in trouble. No easy escape from that. Avalanche to slow down any assistance from James, and they get the kill. But all in all, Ember, as we said, is going to have to step it up. Should be getting close to 6 by now, being in that one-on-one situation.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Ember just chill, farm, except he's got a free lane for a little bit, and then start making moves once he gets to a couple key items. You know, don't rush the aggression. Wait until you get, let's say, phase drum or just like extra little something to make sure every rotation has meaning and value.
He has to be a little bit careful, though, right? That the heroes you're up against, the Static Storm will eventually be there. There is, of course, the Doom is always a threat factor. So it's not... Like, this is the thing. An Ember has to have a golden game, but it's not an easy game.
Yeah, it's so spooky. This is like, it's got to be controlled aggression where you make the move with a Abaddon, you tank a spell, you get the Batrider coming in, you make URSUS feel like they have to maybe start stepping backwards. As they do, then you can get the jump, and then, you know, it's got to be a really calculated approach to each fight. And this is what I mean about the level 6. As soon as you have this double up, sure, oh my, Yoki, buddy.
A little bit of backfire, but don't worry. URSUS is here to clean up. It's like, okay, you turn this 3v2 into 2v2. Don't worry though, I still have the numerical advantage in terms of levels. Mastery, oh boy. This is not how you meant to play the lane.
Core.
Omega lol, as it'll be brought down. There's a lot of stacks here on Plov. Oh, he's trying to turn around.
Really abuse the turn right there. If you stand on top of the hero and just shuffle in front and back, you have to force that hero to turn, especially when you have that many napalm on you. It's 1 to 2 seconds turn rate at that point, and there's no way he's gonna be able to right click you.
And Razor has a slower turn rate as well, right? Like, he suffers a bit more, I believe, so it's pretty painful.
I think this Lich gravitating towards mid lane to mirror this Tiny, it's really put them in an awkward spot where the Lich doesn't actually stop the Tiny from doing Tiny airlines, simply now because of the levels on Arc Warden. Like, look at this, it's...
Oh no. I think
it
feels almost like the tilt at this point. It's like he's baiting himself as they'll chase him with the Avalanche. Should be able to set more Spark Wraiths. And like this, he's like, where do I go? Where do I hide? They rotate in the Ember, though. They find the kill on Yoku.
That was so awkward to watch.
He was min-maxing, but Lightless will live. And it looks like URSUS might go down. As Tatake, he does have the Sleight of Fist. to get the double
That was
kill.
a really good TP from Ember, but that Shadow Fiend just hugging all those creeps made that Tiny feel pressured into having to throw the toss. He could have held the toss a little bit longer to allow for the Shadow Fiend just to get right click down, but he tried to go for that kind of clutch toss within the creep wave, missing the Shadow Fiend, which then resulted in both of them dying.
Seems when Lich is here, they die, and when Lich is not, they find kills. That's the current drive. Because you mentioned that before that fight, is like, this Lich mirroring the Tiny isn't working out for them. And I feel like he should especially stop it now, because while that did backfire for Arc Warden, now that you have the doubles, it's so easy to punish the Lich from trying to help.
Yeah, this Ember rotation just trying to absolute
It's
roll
going
in the mid lane. 4 heroes. Oh.
And here we go. This is Gaze to lock him in. Ush is going to be ran down. Lightless will be able to get away just in time. But there's the Doom. Sadoy finally realizes he needs to have an impact and a presence as he moves across. Toss forward to ensure there's no deny. However, Sadoy is way too low. Will be ran down. And, well, if you want to play a numbers game, Empire, they've done the maths on their calculator. They have more heroes.
They brought more numbers. Yeah, this is... URSUS just kind of getting a little bit too... overstepping the mark a little bit there, I believe.
You can see the awkward part as well, because Razor was in the river. He's like, he just stopped for a second. He's like, do I even come now?
Nah, it's too late. As soon as you use a couple TPs there, the TP's going to be so long. Glove also getting now kited. Again, these napalms, it really like bullies the Razor.
Mastery. Oh, he gets the kill.
Gets the solo kill. 5 heroes here
outnumbered again.
having a scuffle. But this is the type of aggression that Empire need. If these plays were being made and URSUS had the Arc Warden off farming somewhere else, then it would be playing into their favor. But the fact that they were able to kill the Arc Warden and then move into another kill, it's allowing them to keep scaling in this game. So this is exactly the tempo they need to have presence. If they lose this tempo at any point, that's when the game starts to get a lot harder.
And URSUS have to be careful not to bait themselves in too much, right? Like, the moment Ember's got that type of level gain, like, the only time you should have been fighting that is if there was an instant TP rotation by Doom to doom him and get rid of him. But because it came so late, the damage was already done, and you just continue to allow Empire to ripple across the map.
Yeah, you have to respect the Batrider Ember at 10 minutes. Very strong. Especially with the Batrider getting pickoffs in the lane. Like the Abaddon didn't really have much presence, but the Batrider was always getting kind of the cleanup kills. So.
Ooh. Okay, that's a
the
good kill.
Batrider like pseudo core right now.
So it turns out the URSUS, their approach is anything you can do, we can do better. Because in the top lane, they rotate multiple heroes to kill off the SF.
And this should lead to a tower. And that is I guess, the difference right now in the two lineups is Empire doesn't really take towers after they get killed. They're going to kill James here.
Yep, and then...
most likely, they're going to slap this tier 1 down.
Exactly.
I would expect with the creep wave.
So they have that ability to easily take towers. And they have the crit wall
Easily.
for it, especially.
They have more gusto to try. They're also timing their move with the catapult. That's the other thing. Empire's moves are reactionary based on URSUS's play, so they weren't able to mirror their gank with a catapult. URSUS, though, they made the moves with the catapult, so it allows them to get that free tower.
And you can already see the Empire set up around mid, like, okay, we can't move top to defend that, so what we're going to try and do is pressure around mid. Have the advantage of the fact that you can't get everyone in quick enough, but they're already using the tier 2s on the side of URSUS to make sure that there's a quick TP onto tier 1. Things come out, and URSUS, they're going to dive forward towards him, mastering now, having his ultimate. Feels like he's mastered death itself, but he might regret that statement. Yep, there's going to be a glimpse back. Where the hell are you going? And he's going to hold the point until the very end. Maybe you get out, maybe you don't, because there's a toss from Yoku to make sure there's no escape. And questions will be had about him still suffering and trying to figure out what the hell he's meant to do in this game. It's definitely not that, though.
I think what he was trying to do was just set up for if I start taking a little bit of damage here, then I'm going to be able to have my Batrider and Ember jump in. But the time in which he goes in, everyone jumps away. Oh, the double ult.
Straight away afterwards. They chase down with the Scorched Earth, Chain Frost to try and send them away. And it looks like Tatake will live. I mean, it was a nice idea. It just felt like they tossed him too close to the river. Maybe if they're running deeper.
I didn't have the kinetic field up at the time, I believe. So it was just they throw the static storm onto the ground just to be able to stop the ult. Then they get the doom off to layup because they don't have the kinetic field up. And then he was able just to run away. So, but no, it was a nice try, but now Empire, like, they don't have their 2 biggest team fight spells. Let's go run at them, boys. So you're going to see a big window right now of Empire just kind of running at them. But it's like the same as last game. Look at Mastery. He's trying to be this aggressive front line, and he's somewhat starving himself. A level 6 offlane. I know his lane wasn't that great, but if they continue this aggression and they don't get towers, then
Which
they're
they
going to
won't.
really suffer.
And they're going to bleed heroes instead. Batrider melts like an ice cream in the summer sun. And Yoku will die in response. As Ember says, what the hell are you guys doing? You've used all your big ults. I can go as deep as I want. He'll chase on the Sidoi next. How far does he want to die for this, though? With the sleight of fist, he gets it quickly on the side, though. Razor chasing for a return kill. They'll be able to find Lich and Tatake. Uh-oh. Is he too deep? He hasn't got much mana left. I don't know if he's got enough to escape here. No, they're all on cooldown. And it looks like he might fall as a result. They'll chase through the plasma field to slow him down, and the whip to the face to put him in his place. And Mastery, well, we didn't know what he was doing last time, and this time he's gone from tier 1, tier 2 to tier 2, tier 3. So,
they've really subscribing to the idea of aggression right now, which I respect the idea of punishing the lack of cooldowns and going without a doom up, but it's the point in which you need to find at what point does our aggression become pointless, where we lose XP, lose farm? Like, in the meantime, this is happening. The Arc is slowly picking up his farm. He's slowly coming, like, not getting back into the game. He had a decent start, but he's using the pockets of space to farm up. And it took them like 3 to 4 minutes to take one tier 1 tower. So,
and you have to think about the natural net worth gains of these type of heroes, right? Like, so Razor's top. He needs to be top, really. Arc Warden will definitely catch up the split pushing, and Doom, when he's got this maxed out Devour, when he gets that 15 talent, he will just naturally get a ridiculous amount of gold as well. So then you're looking and saying, okay, is Abaddon just forcing them out too much? Most definitely, because he's going to fall behind in terms of gold.
Look at his net worth, 3.3k. It's 1.3k behind the Doom, and the Doom's equally been as movable. If I can even talk today, he's been at as many fights. So.
And the Batrider, of course, he's becoming the true offlaner now as he starts to surpass. He is a hero that has a much easier go of it when it comes to pushing out
There's
lanes.
not a position 3 and 4 in Empire right now. It's just in position 3.5, where like the net worth of the offlaner for Radiant, they just kind of halved it, right? So it's like, okay, well, we just got two semi offlaners in the form of Abaddon and Batrider.
And usually we see this done when you're looking for that big impact, but instead you can see it straight away. James has gone for the boost travel build. He's like, okay, we're in it for the long haul, boys. This game isn't ending anytime soon. And Ember's life might end soon though. Static Storm is down, and all kinds of storms on him. But no, they couldn't quite get in range. They will at least kill off Kadaro. The Chain Frost to bounce around doesn't go favorably in the toss back. Hello, they find the second Mastery. However, nice chains out. Glimpse. And just in position, in time, Yol ensures they at least get 2 kills, even if it isn't the Ember.
Can I quickly get a time check? What's your in-game time right now?
15:31.
Oh, I'm still 2 times ahead. All right, splendid. I'll make sure I delay myself.
You can seem smart. It's good. Tatake, is this smart? No. Good. I'm glad we agree. Although he still threw out a remnant for some reason. Thumbs up. All right, we got another pause. We've reached that point in the series. Empire are a game down, and they need a comeback. And the second game, once again, looking like it's going to go against them. Will we see it?
Whoa. Calm down. I think they're going to pause, by the way.
Yeah, I know. They have. Yeah,
very
we're
smart.
Good to go.
No, they have such a good aggression lineup. The issue they have right now is simply the piece of the puzzle that is the Abaddon. Where is he farming? How is he going to have presence within the game? If they answer that question, then sure, they can maybe take some good fights up until maybe the 25-30 minute mark. And then post that, then it's going to be an absolute slaughter, and I think URSUS will run away with it, I believe. But for now, this is very much Empire territory if they can play the map the right way.
Yeah, but Empire, it definitely gets risky in some way sooner, right? Because you're probably expecting this Doom to go for a Blink Dagger next, switch over from the Crit Wolf into a Stomp, and all of a sudden you have the means to catch the Ember off guard. So it does get scarier.
The thing, though, with the Doom is Empire's draft, when you look at it, their draft is we run at you, right? So when you have such a clear motive of a draft, Radiant don't always have to build the perfect initiation. They can just buy the items to tank up, to kind of front that kind of initiate and then be able to fight after. So, sure, James dying here. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the Doom just went for the phase drum BKB type build, which was like, if you want to run at my team, I'm gonna stand in the middle of my team, and if you make one misplay, don't dodge my Doom at any point, you're dead, you know? So
I do like the idea of him being able to keep the crit wolf in this type of game as well, right? When you got the Arc Warden, just that effective DPS increase is insane, and the amount of DPS going out into URSUS here, who will TP away as the chain frost
RNG,
was
Arc Warden,
ridiculous.
he was like, oh, don't hit me. Don't hit me.
Mastery is saying the same thing right now. He'll use the borrowed time, and they'll decide not to pursue into the high ground. They learned their lessons. Both teams hopefully learned the lesson about going the high ground blind last game. You'd hope. But who knows? Kadaro, he's on the Lich again. He could go back into that that comfort zone of running blind. So far, though, right now, I'm kind of surprised that URSUS haven't been able to get more towers. Like, they have been pressured a little bit. There's a lot more kills on URSUS, but is this because they're just content to sit back? They're like, there's no rush for us to take control of the map with our draft?
I think it's just because they know that they're not on a timer this game. They're just going to farm up. They don't need to cross the river. As soon as they cross the river, they lose their defensive spots to play, right? So it's just, we don't care if you run at us for 20, 30 minutes because we know eventually we're going to have the better draft. So for them, it's just make sure they farm in the pockets of space they have, keep up some defensive vision, and then, yeah, just wait it out. There's honestly no rush for them.
Yeah, there's a lot more scaling, right? Like, Tiny becomes a formidable force in the late game. Disruptor, one of the best late game supports. We already mentioned the Doom and the Arc Warden. And even Razor is this hero that... It kind of like Ursa got these kind of tweaks in these adjustments that made it so that while he does start to wane down in the mid-late game, he can just ridiculously spike out of control when you get into the hyper-late game scenarios. And smoke
pretty much
from Empire. Wrap around. But it's not going to find anything. It's just a Tempest double farming here. But if they move to the mid lane quickly, well, URSUS is nowhere nearby. This should be obvious now. There's going to be a remnant spam forward to try and find them. They see URSUS. And there are going to be TPs in, but they're too late.
They can connect so quickly. As soon as they have like a little inkling of where this Arc Warden is, they can just go with Batrider and Ember Spirit. Oof.
And you feel like they should have maybe suspected something, right? Like they had all these heroes dangling around bot, but no one was showing from Empire. So there should have been an incline maybe a little bit quicker from URSUS that, okay, this is definitely not safe.
They also had a scan up as well. So the fact that they didn't even maybe test that, maybe they weren't thinking about it in any way. They were just like, oh, it's just a slow part of the game. Like Empire, they haven't really been that aggressive in the last like 2 to 3 minutes, right? It's been like small engagements, but not as aggressive as they were at the 13-minute mark. So maybe URSUS getting a little bit too comfortable at the pace of the game, and then Empire turning it up again. That's when you can surprise them and get those pickoffs.
And they definitely
Also,
feel confident to start making those pickoffs, right? With the
Can
once
you,
you hit the BKB, you need to move fast.
Can you be so kind, sir, and hit me with a current game time real quick?
2019.
Nice. I've added a little delay on my thing. I fixed it. I fixed
Well
the
played.
problem.
Good
Thank you,
Yol.
mate.
Yol.
Oh, and there's your... Oh, buddy, oh, pal.
See, we're just in sync to watch the POS 5 feed.
Oh, yeah.
Lasso. Oh, no. Jump into Doi trying to slow us down. The avalanche looks good, but Plov is too close.
Oh, Plov go plop again.
Hey, it's the theme of the series, but it's not the theme that Empire wins. However, this is a good start.
But this is where, like, now Empire grouped up again, and they've got a couple more items on their team. They're able to actually really punish the positioning. At the start of the game, they're trying to be aggressive, and it was like, as soon as they connect, they don't actually have the tankiness or the damage to really get those kills. But now they've got to 20 minutes of farm. Now it's like, oh, if they're out of position, we're killing this Arc. He doesn't have any way of escaping the Ember Spirit. He doesn't have any way of stopping a Batrider getting on top of him. So URSUS, I think they need to bring back their warding. If you look at the minimap right now, they've got an aggressive ward in the dire jungle on the bot side, sorry. It's like they don't have a clean line of vision to see where Empire are moving in their own side. So they just need defensive wards, dodge the fights, keep farming for another 10-15, allow them to maybe take a free tier 2 because you can't really defend them without an open space around them. And then as soon as they get to the high ground, that's when your draft comes online.
Yeah, it's very hard for Empire to even try and breach, right? When you got the Static Storm, when you got the Arc Warden. So it's like Just try and buy time. Try and dodge, weave around these fights. Don't let Empire capitalize on these item timings, which are so big for them right now. Things like the BKB on Shadow Fiend, the Blink Daggers that allow them to just go deep and look for these kills.
Like, I will give credit to Empire though. Like, they started off this game. The Ember has the really good rotation at the start, getting that double kill on the Tiny and the Arc Warden, and then they got a little bit over aggressive, but then they reeled it back in. And it was that reeling back in the game that they haven't really shown in previous games. That kind of discipline to go, we're being a little bit too over the top here. And in the first game, they were over the top, and that's why they lost. I really like how they've kind of brought it back, and they're showing that they need to hit items and need to have a clear mind and how to utilize their draft to win. And it's
Speaking of
this type
items,
of discipline which is allowing them to have good fight.
I was just gonna say, speaking of items, the Mjolnir has now been picked up, and URSUS did smoke up. They were hoping to find something, but Empire mirroring this, coming around the back, and it's going to reveal on to a really unexpected plov here. The Doom does come out. The Static Storm does look good. Can they turn this now with the Razor already dead? It looks like URSUS is just getting to do whatever he wants, but he's pushed out of his magnetic field. Mastery stays on top of him. Make sure that he feels harassed and pressured, and with the Sinister Gaze Dragon,
This is not where you want to be as an Arc Warden. This is not where you want to be. These
they just ignored
Empire
him.
Is like, if they did these two smokes they've done, the first smoke killing the Arc Warden, the second smoke killing the Razor and the Arc Warden. Both these are so critical to enable Empire. Like, there's such a large tire on Empire to use their early game, mid game aggression that their lineup has, and these last two moves that they made have been so good to allow them to move around the map. And now, finally, they're going to have a big team fight, or at least pick off, that leads them into a very key objective, which is Roshan.
Yep. We were just talking about how we want to see URSUS drag it out, avoid these fights, and then immediately you see that kind of smoke play. And the wind back, it's very obvious at that stage that you're probably going to get caught out. No one's shown on the map still, and you know they're not in Roche, so they must be mirroring your smoke movement at that stage.
It's just hard to drag the game out as URSUS when they have so much mobility on Empire. When you have this Bat and Ember who's able to just kind of connect from like miles away, it's you will feel pressure. And I think the Arc Warden just needs to use the clone, send it out. But when you go for the Treads Mjolnir build, you don't obviously have the bots, so you can't really send your clone to those deep spots of the map to push out a lane. You're kind of forced within the area that you control, which is your towers. And now there's not a shrine area. It's really hard for the Arc Warden to really get that clone out into spots of the map that can just freely push out lanes and farm.
It's the type of build that seems like it's very good, but then he realized, oh, actually, I just put myself kind of on the clock. I have to play this mid game pretty present. I can't just go for the very classical kind of Arc Warden moniker where I'm just going to split push for 30 minutes, and this game is going to be 40 minutes longer than it should be. Maybe I'll still lose.
We're going to an hour, boys. But no, yeah, this Empire right now, they're making some really good moves around the map.
Nice pick off onto the Batrider. Empire too slow
As I say
on the
that.
response. Oh, you know, it wasn't the biggest casualty. Like, it's a decent pick off in URSUS's eyes because that's 50 seconds where you don't have to worry about a lasso jump in.
But it stunts their movement. This move from URSUS, they play across the other side of the map, get a pick off. Empire then fully rotate their lineup over to where the Batrider just died, which then indirectly, like, it stops them from taking this tier 2 top. So URSUS are kind of defending their own side of the map through the aggression onto Dire side.
And at the same time, you don't feel confident after you arrive bot to push in because it's a long way. And at the same time, your question mark is then, do URSUS have vision? And they do. To start the fight right away, they throw out the Doom with the Take. They might have enough damage to finally bring him down this time. The deny will not be there. And the Baden, well, don't worry, Ember. Mastery might be joining you in the grave this fray. He's holding on to the borrowed time. They're still chasing onto him on the back line. They might have found an additional target. But Kidaro able to back away under his own vision. It looks like it'll be a safe TP out if he had one. Whoops. This is one of those situations he doesn't want to talk about. He has not got any TPs at all.
If he shovels though, hold on. 2, 1, shovel, 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 shovel. Oh. Ooh.
Is he really going to try and walk this out? Well, he
tries.
tries and
shovel,
failed.
Matt.
They'll play a game of ping pong, but they're just too tanky at this point. They don't really care about the Chain Frost. You know, I'm going to forgive him for the no TP because someone I've heard from a few players right now is having that kind of like background TP sometimes baits them at the moment.
Oh, you're being too nice. No, incorrect, sir. It's TP or no TP. You buy 2 or you buy 1. You buy 1, you get punished. You buy 2, you don't get punished. Until you forget to buy another one, which you used to
So
play when you
you always inevitably get punished. See, it was reasonable.
Whoa.
However, this was not reasonable. The overextension instantly punished by Tatake. I mean, they felt confident. They'd just taken a good fight, right? Like this feels like that kind of pub game mentality, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, we just took a fight. Let's just split up and go farm the map. And then the moment you do it, Empire strikes again.
The thing, the good side for this though is, even though sure the Doom died, Time died, it's actually no, they're not even farming. Like, I was gonna try and spin this where it's like they're trying
Good
to
luck.
act like a meat shield, right, where they can farm, but it's not. They're just dying, and then Empire gets to group and get to push. So
Yeah, it is the classical pub game, right? It's like we just took some kills. No objectives for us, boys. We'll just
it will be interesting to see though, how does Empire actually move into high ground? All of these fights, all of these pickoffs we've seen have been out in the tier 1, tier 2 area. And like we said during the draft, that's Empire's playground. As soon as you get to the high ground, this Arc Warden with the bubble into the tier 3, placing it really deep, I don't see how Empire can truly do damage to these towers. So this is where it's now going to get difficult. There's only one more objective on the map Empire can take freely. That's top tier 2. After that, they're going to have to really think about the process in which they go high ground. And the net worth, look at it. Doom, Razor, and Warden are all close to Ember and Shadow Fiend. So the only reason Empire are winning these fights is because of it being out of the base.
definitely something they need to address eventually. And this is the big thing. It comes back to that Abaddon, right? Like SF, when we see it do well, is when it's coupled with a hero that can take buildings and utilize the passive when you take that talent, right? That affects buildings. That's when it's like, oh, things like Lifesteal work quite well. Things that actually want to hit buildings, but Abaddon's not strong enough to do that. So your Ember's not going to do it.
The flip side, though, is the Shadow Fiend aura. It allows anyone to technically hit buildings due to you reducing the armor. So the Abaddon becomes a very... he's able to sit there and hit the tower. It's not going to be as quick as maybe a real like tower hitter, but it still allows them to do something to it. So the high ground siege from Empire will just be the Abaddon sitting high ground right clicking if the bubble is not there, and the Shadow Fiend behind. And then the Ember will then try and connect, like create the space. And
well, I was just gonna say that does cause a greater risk though, right? Because like this is the thing against like the Arc Warden type lineups. If you have to keep coming up with that high ground for longer periods of time, and you've got things like the Disruptor sitting there, it does give URSUS more potential opportunities to open up on you.
Oh yeah, like we've said this 1,000 times. This is such a scary high ground defense turtling-esque lineup from URSUS. Like you got the Arc Warden, you got the push from Tiny Razor.
Well, they're not
you got
turtling.
the team fight.
They move straight out and they
you
throw
don't
out that
need to.
dude instantly.
And yeah, this was again just a really good move. This is what I mean about the whole where does Empire go now? They've taken all their 3 objectives and now they're kind of walking around with each other going, all right lads, what's the next play? What do we do?
Oh, Ember?
And now just going to kind of one by one just get picked off. Oh, he's got the BKB though.
Yeah, but that's the BKB. It's a runaway BKB, and it's a big charge as well. Meanwhile, they still find the Batrider.
There's clearly discussions in their team right now, which was like, guys, can we go high ground? Nope. What can we do? Okay, just farm up, guys. Let's maybe wait for a pickoff, and then in that call to just wait for that pickoff, they disconnect their kind of death ball draft that they have, and then really good from URSUS, just moving out their base, being confident enough to take a fight. It was very risky, where if they had actually grouped up, then maybe there would have been a 5v5 engagement and it wouldn't have gone so well, but because they got the disconnected Empire, then good.
And as a result, those rods are starting to favor URSUS more and more. Even though Empire, they seem to have decent aggression. Like you mentioned, the thing that's becoming obvious to people is, oh, well, they're getting loads of kills. They just don't really turn it into anything.
Well,
and then every once in a while, URSUS goes full guerrilla warfare and jumps out of the base. Like
sorry, there's still the bot tier 2. Technically, there's one more thing on the map for Empire to achieve. The bot tier 2. Kadara, buddy. You're right there, mate.
He's not looking to achieve the double digits on his chest this game. Last game was rough, all right? This one's definitely an improvement for Kadara.
I think this is a big improvement for Empire, I think. They've played a lot, like, from all the games that they've played, technically 2 games to get here. Yeah, it's much better Dota 2 coming from them. other than that 30-minute aggression kind of cap apart from mastery and stuff. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Hey, he's still playing as if he's the Timber from the last game where he felt good. At least this time around, he's remembered gold good. Need to get
Oh
more
no,
gold.
no, not the pause again.
Uh-oh.
Show mercy.
Is it coming? Empire's like, wait, no, we just checked our funds. We can't afford to...
Oh,
I'm messing, of course. There's nothing here. It's just, it was unfortunate yesterday, but Empire making the best of the situation to prove they deserve to still beat in this qualifier. And yes, they still have that net worth lead, but they need to formulate a plan for that high ground soon. Of course, you have got the buff up, but when you think about the way that they play, like the reason the Doom was used so willy-nilly onto that Shadow Fiend is because Shadow Fiend is the only thing that is concerned at this rate to URSUS. Yol's death is a loss. Will probably allow them to go and take the Roche if they don't lose a hero here. Oh, the long-range throwback mastery. No, he's too far, too deep. Yoku might die for this, but mastery still has to borrow time. It's tiny. It was a cute play and a very, very long throw from downtown, but not good enough.
You're not allowed to leave the high ground, URSUS. If you're not 5 leaving the high ground, do not do it. The spookiness of the Ember, the spookiness of the Batrider. Whew.
And the scan straight away, they're like, okay, they're probably in there, aren't they? And they are.
They do have buyback on Tiny. The Disruptor's soon alive in 10, but there should be no contest on this. Give them the Aegis, push out your lanes, finally get out your base, maybe get a D ward.
That's that moment where they're like, we can fight. You just need to buy back Tiny. And they're like, you can just TP to Shrine. Oh, no. They're no longer there. Contesting Roche has become so much harder than it used to be. Well, the Ice Frog didn't like the interesting shuffles we were getting around the Roche bit in the last patch, where teams would just, instead of going for Roche, end up going back and forth to each other's high grounds at the shrine locations, or former shrines, should I say.
But this is where the game gets interesting. So far, it's been the story of Empire's draft. It's what they're meant to do. They've done everything. The aggression, they're taking towers. Yeah, exactly. And now we get to the point where this is where URSUS have to prove that they've drafted this lineup for a reason. Like, now they have to actually utilize this Arc Warden pick. And here we go.
They have to
push out
tinker
bot
town
lane and
this
take a
situation.
good off fight.
Yep. You just got to keep them at bay for as long as you can. Gandalf will be coming over the hill anytime now. God knows you need him, because the net worth lead is building. Now with that Aegis, they can actually look to try and pressure the high ground. And you can already see they're prepping multiple lanes, because obviously the weakness of Arc Warden is, yes, man, and it feels great, but there's only so many you can cast, and if we're coming from multiple lanes, we're definitely going to get at least some chip damage in at the end of the push.
I would be really interested to know if... Oh, see you, buddy.
Whoops.
I'd be really interested to know if Empire actually played this game with the intention of Batrider and Abaddon actually sharing that kind of 3 role. You can see how the collapse of roles is slowly forming within kind of Pro Dota. But you can see the Abaddon, he opted to be this kind of meat shield frontline guy, and then the Batrider had some good kills in the laning phase. So I think as much as we kind of picked apart Mastery for his lack of farm at the start of the game, it might have actually been a tactical choice for him to just run around the map, do stuff, because now look at him, he's catching up. He's nearly got more net worth than Razor. And of course, this is a product of the aggression of Empire allows for a lot more space to be on the map, a lot more farm, because URSUS are scared into their own base. But I think it was an interesting choice between those 2 players to who should be in the lane, who should be running at them. And it doesn't always work, as you saw from the first game, but when it does work, you actually have quite a scary amount of farm across your first 4 heroes.
Yeah, it's something that you don't actively think about, but in the moment, like, you should have that adaptation. And, well,
see you, James.
Is he the offlaner or is he the 4? Because
we don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Equal. Nah, you know, he's now back to the 4.
Yeah, he's gone back to the 4. The net worth swinging in a bad, and so it's like, it's not the most crippling of kill, because he already done his pick off on Tiny previously, but
now
he would have liked to go again.
They should be able to just run at them. Now that
they're
you're
gonna
dead Batrider,
they forced the buyback.
However,
yeah. They're forced to fight.
Yeah.
Short dragged in, needs to move away with the Tempest double. It's not going to be good enough. The Chain Frost, however, will. And Ploff just needs to get out quickly. This is a part
doesn't have the BKB yet on the Arc Warden. He went for the full Hurricane Pike MKB first.
Way too greedy. Sidoi does at least get his BKB out, and Avalanche to try and cover him so he can escape. But not much armor on a Doom. And he's feeling the right clicks here as they chase on in. Remnant forward as the BKB runs out. They are there to clean up the kill. And Mastery going ever deeper. Still doesn't use that borrowed time. They force the buyback out the Doom, and that should be enough to back them off, especially with the glyph being used. However, there is a glimpse. Dragon Mastery backs. Does that borrowed time. They just want to try and pop it and see if they can probe for a kill. But instead, Empire are going to probe for
now
towers.
go high ground. If the Arc Warden's dead, all of the threat and defense of URSUS high ground is now gone. So now, boom. Let's take these buildings. Let's utilize our Shadow Fiend aura. Everybody hit buildings. We got all the damage in the world. Towers lose their armor. All of it.
How many can you get? Is the real question.
The Abaddon silent, or silence the passive. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Gone. 2 lanes of racks done because of one misplay. The call to go aggressive because you got to pick off.
Static Storm. Plov's gone in. BKB, and it's a runaway BKB. He tries to deny, doesn't even get it on the range racks. And now Sadoi runs in. This is do or die, and they realize it's throughout the Doom. But Empire, they are able to back off successfully and instead turn around on Sadoi with that lasso. He's just gone. Arc Warden, yes, you are back up, but Lightless, he'll stay alive with the Satanic. He forces Ush away. And all of a sudden, Tatake, the Doom's ran out. He's going to go deep.
Load. What do they do now?
Like, okay,
they've
let's
got
just end the game.
Got no Doom. Yeah, it's over.
One will fall, and they're just going to try and force the letters out of URSUS here as they have nothing left in the chamber. They were willing to leave, but now... And well, now Empire refused to ever go. This is their new home, okay? They've brought a nice sofa. They got a nice little shawl and a beautiful carpet. They're painting the walls, and they're painting it in the blood of URSUS as Yoku gets dragged in to his inevitable death alongside his throne.
I think this game actually it just got decided by that one last crucial move. So let's ignore everything in the first like 30 or so minutes, right? Because of course it's aggressive lineup v defensive lineup, and the aggressive lineup's winning. That's good. That's how these games are meant to go. So then you get to this very last play of the game. They kill the Batrider, and then the default mechanism of killing one hero is okay, go, because we're going to outnumber them. We can make that play. But as soon as they chase into the kind of bot area, into the Abaddon, they don't respect the high ground, and they clearly haven't. They've all just tunnel visioned on the Abaddon. So the Arc Warden, he runs towards that location where the fight is occurring, but doesn't respect the high ground. All the rest of the Dire team still even being there, and then he's super out of position. He then uses both of his clones to try and disconnect, and he's like 2,000 gold away from BKB. If like the aggressive play is fine to run at the Batrider, that's perfectly at the Abaddon, so that's perfectly fine to try and control an area. But you have to do it properly with the correct heroes in front and respect like the positioning of your team. When you don't do that and your Arc Warden just gets jumped, well, any BKB, the game's just over because it's outside their base. Like you've just given them the only chance to go high ground is by killing this Arc Warden. So,
yeah, and they get squashed as easily as that Roshan there, as we will need a third game to decide this short break, and then we'll be back for the third game of the series.